everyone, it's Angie. It's been a while. Thought I better get my buns in gear. I've been busy getting ready to move. Well, I shouldn't say move, we haven't sold the house yet, but anyway. So I rolled out a piece of white clay on my second to largest setting on my pasta machine. And I am going to texture the back. Where's my little texture rollers? Texture rollers. These are just easy to grab, so that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to go with this one. To me, it reminds me of a windy day. And if I find my container, put the other two back in. There we go. So I should burnish that a little bit. Just make sure it's stuck on there good, because you don't want it rolling away on you. That's good. And then I'm just going to put this on here, give it a bit of pressure. You can tell I've been playing with the wood stove. And roll. You got to give it an even pressure. Then I'm trying something new today. I am taking a napkin that I have, and it has a cute little snowman and martini glass and whatever. Anyways, candy canes, reindeer. I was thinking of doing the snowman. Of course, Christmas bulbs. So in order for this, you're going to have to peel the napkin apart. They come in layers. Some have just the 2 layers, some have 3. This one has 2, I believe. Yeah, I have 2 layers. And then I have those snowflakes, all kinds of cute little things you can use. But I just want a small pair of scissors. I'm going to, we're still going to do the snowman. So I'm just going to cut around them roughly. And since this can be boring, monotonous, I'm not going to trim this all around on camera because, well, I'm sure we all know how to cut. And it can be tedious just watching it. So I'm going to put this piece away. Even when I'm at somebody's house, I like to grab their napkins they have. Like my mom had this beautiful rose. I can't remember where I got this one, but I took that, I already peeled it apart. This one's really pretty too. There's some pretty bulbs on it. Christmas bulbs. You could do the same thing with. It's more of a summery one, strawberries. Just something I had and did something else with. But anyway, so I'm going to trim this up. And then, whoopsie, have to clean that off again. And I'll be back after I get this cut. All right, I've got them cut out. As I was cutting them out, I realized I had another layer of paper on here. Let's see if I can get it off. That sometimes can be a little tricky. Oh, there it is. All right. So then we will need to flip this over. As you can see, I got rid of my other board, and now I'm using, or my ceramic tile, now I'm using my glass. So I see a little fuzzy on here, probably cat fur. And then I'll be just laying these on top lightly, because I just want to trim out the size I need, because these papers will not be going in the oven. So I'll just stick them on there a little bit. And trim them. carefully go around the edges. I always like taking pieces off as I go along, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to get it as close as you can. A little sanding may be required, but I'm going to try to have it so it's not required at all. For doing it this way, you may have to. There. But if we smooth it off, get it all nice and neat before we put it in the oven, it should be okay. I'm just going to do a rough trim right now. This is just a tool I had made that I'm pretty sure I got this from Turtle Soup Beads, Susan Bailey. I can always remember her name so well, her last name well, because it's the name of my brother's bakery. And that's why I never seem to forget her name. I have to think about the first one sometimes, but not her second name, or her last one. Trim around his little face. Our cute little snowman. I think this is a great way to get some nice patterns and designs, especially if you're not one for drawing or painting. This is an easy and quick way to make some very nice things. All I gotta do is just trim. As you can see, I'm not the best trimmer. It's because it's way up in front of my face that I can't really see what I'm doing. That's all right. It's still gonna look good in the end. Yeah, we're just about done. And after we get it trimmed, I'm going to peel the paper back off the napkin. And then I'm just going to make sure my edges are all nice and tidy. I thought these would make cute earrings, if they're not too big for somebody. Or you can do a pendant, either or. I haven't actually decided which one I'm going to do, but I'll see what they look like after I'm done. There. And just in case it's stuck a little, I'm being very careful taking it off. There. Now, we just want to trim it up nicely. I'm just going to pet in the edges a little bit. Round it up. I think that's supposed to be more straight. Just want to trim that off. And that's about it. Just keep making sure everything is all nice. And neat. And then I'm going to bake these for, I'm only going to bake them for 30 minutes. And I do believe they're thick enough. They seem thick enough to me anyway. I just want to make sure they're all nice and tidied up. Then they'll go in the oven for 30 minutes. Because my oven will be cold when they go in and when I shut it off. I tend to let it cool off some. It's too hot to handle when you first put it in there, or when you first shut it off, so I just tend to leave it in there until it cools. I find it easier that way. And when they come out of the oven, I'll come back and we'll finish them up. Now for me, I wouldn't mind wearing big earrings like this, but big earrings aren't for everybody. And where I live, it's more of a retirement place than anything, so I tend to leave the bigger things for pendants. People are always looking for just little tiny earrings. Not that I'm out trying to sell all my stuff, but you know, I like to have the option there for them when they do. And that'll be after things might open up and maybe the fairy starts running again, the cat. That's this, well, 2 years it's been closed due to, well, 1 year it was due because the wharf wasn't ready. This year it was because of COVID. So we've had a couple bad years. I'm just trying to make sure that they both look the same, or as close as possible, if I do decide to make them into earrings. All right, there, I'm gonna finish making them all nice and neat and pretty looking, and I'll come back. Okay, so, no, they haven't made it to the oven yet, but I decided to put a little bit of mica powder on them, on the back of them. And that's way too much of what I'll need, but that's okay. Just to give it that bluish on the back. Just a little bit of color. I think I'll put some on the sides too. If I use the right end of this. And I grabbed the wrong brush. Here it is. So when you come back, or when I come back, I should say, and you notice there's blue on here, you know what I did. Just as I'm playing with them. Things just tend to pop in my head as I go along. I guess that's how we all work. Add a little bit of extra. Give a little bit more bling. So after I finish all this, and then I'll put it in the oven and bake it at 275 because it is Primo I'm working with, and it is quite thin, so I'm thinking 30 minutes is going to be plenty. And if I think it's not, well, I'll leave it in longer. But for now, that's my plan. There we go. And I'll do the other one and I'll be back when they're done. All right, out of the oven. And I've decided to go with my UV resin. So I'm just gonna put a little on here so that my faces will stick. And I'm just gonna spread it around with my brush. Oh, sorry about that. And then I'm going to stick a snowman on here and put it into my UV light. I'm just going to get it on here so it's straight. If my hands will work with me and not against me. Like so. And of course that would have to flip on me. There we go. Make sure it's stuck on there nice and good. And if it overlaps over the edge, that's fine, because I just take a file after, well, I'll show you when we get to that point what I do. There, and I'm going to put that one under the UV light. And while that's under there, I will do the other one. And yes, Lucy's back in here with me again with her toy. Aren't you, Luce? Lucy Lou. I know. So again, just put a fairly thin, not too thick layer of resin on here. And stick your napkin on. Nope, didn't get on right, so then I'll pick it back up. Straighten it out better. I swear it's the first time I used my hands today. It can be a little tedious, especially doing it this way. Not look any better. Are you sniffing, Loose? I still don't have it on quite right. Oh, boy, that was a bright light. Again, it can be a little tedious, but it's definitely worth it in the end, because it's so pretty. I got more on my fingers than I do on the actual piece. There. Just trying to get these few little wrinkles out that I got in there. You want to be careful because it is a very thin piece of napkin and it can rip. I find it's better with the resin. And again, we can file all this stuff down with afterwards. I get this resin off my fingers because I got all kinds of it all over me. There, that one's done. Oh, I never showed you the back. There it is. Came out pretty. I'll put this one in. And before I put my last coat on, I want to take the file to it. So I just want it to get it stuck on here. So I'm just going to lightly do the edges like this. So any of that piece that's left on there or that overlapped it will come off. Just like so. And yes, it will take some of the mica powder off, but that's all right. We can always either paint it or whatever afterwards. But I kind of like the way it looks. And I'm doing it around the whole thing so it will match. There, that looks pretty good. So now, get rid of the dust. put a thicker coat on here. I still haven't decided if I'm going to do earrings or a pendant with it, but you can do either or. It's just a matter of drilling a hole in it. Oh, I got a fuzz. No fuzzies allowed in the resin. What are you doing, Lucy? I get right into my work, you know. And what I mean by that is I get it all over me, see? My resin. There, and I'll stick that under my lamp. I'm going to leave it there for a while because this is quite thick and I like to make sure it's nice and hard. But before I do that, I was thinking I would put some sparkles on it. This is just some glitter that I have. I use this to do it. Just want a little bit like on the cheek area. I'll do the other cheek area. And some up through here. Just like that. Just a little bit. A little glitter. So now I'll put him under the light and I'll finish that one up. And when they're done, I'll come back so you can see what they look like. And here they are, all finished. A little bit of glitter. So I probably will do pendants with them, but I still might do a little bit, something a little different with them as well. I might put a background around them. I don't know. Here's the backs of them. I just put a varnish on the back of it and on the sides. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope I gave you some good ideas on what to do and what you can do with napkins. It's not hard, it's pretty simple. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.